There was something else going on in the draft. I don't know if you saw it. It was crazy. It was like Shedeur Sanders. Did you see that? We thought he was going to go in the first round.
Right.
He ended up going in the 5th round. I don't know if you were sticking around for that part.
Yeah, I was.
Obviously, you were. It was the main storyline. Depending on which one you watch, they talked about it all the time. You talked about it a little bit with Mike.
Well, ESPN couldn't get off of it. So I had to change the channel a little there and watch it because they would not get off of it.
NFL Network had a hard time getting off of it, too.
Yeah, it's a big subject.
But it's one of those where it's like you get down to the 4th, 5th round, you haven't heard of a lot of these guys. The common fan, you are wondering about Shedeur Sanders and what's going on there. So we ended it last time on the pod with you saying, everyone chill out. He fell out of the first round. The NFL was not sold on him as a first-round quarterback, and so this is not a surprise.
Right.
Once it got to round 3, 4, and then into 5, then it became a surprise, and then you're like, what's going on?
It does. It becomes a surprise. There's a lot to unpack here, right? I feel like we were at the forefront of the conversation a little bit here going, hey, Saints at 9, Steelers at 21. They don't take Shedeur Sanders. What's going to happen?
I mean, you didn't have him in your mock draft.
I didn't have him in my mock draft. I got the sense throughout the process when I would talk to teams and other people where, again, teams aren't telling me what they like and don't like, but you could tell how people talk about certain people, and I didn't feel like this was the vibes I was getting about the quarterbacks last year, but every guy I brought up, they were like, oh, he's really good. We really like him. He's really good. We really like him. Hey, you know what I like about this one? He's really good. And so it didn't feel like the vibes were there. Then I could tell, too, within the conversations, teams were a little bit like, hey, we kind of think Jackson Dart and Tyler Shuck are right up there with him, if not better, and talking in a more glowing way, okay? So knew that was a possibility, let alone his talent. And as I've said all along, like I wouldn't have wanted to take him until the 20s, right? That's kind of what I thought he was. Even just pure film talent was end of the first round, early second round type of talent.
And if you're a quarterback and no one sold on you until the 20s, then what happened to Malik Willis a couple of years ago where it was the same conversation? It was like, I had 20 maybe. You can end up going to the 3rd round. It
happened to me. I was a guy that was supposed to go in the 20s.
I just tried to mansplain to the person that happened to.
It's exactly, but it does happen that way. Okay, then let's add on the fact that there wasn't a ton of quarterback-needy teams in this draft. So now the Giants take Jackson Dart. The Saints take Tyler Shuck. And, okay, now it's like, what do we do here? The Browns weren't desperate to have to take a quarterback. Okay, we'll get into them here in a second. But what happens, too, off of that now, and this kind of happened to me, I'm not trying to compare myself to Shedeur Sanders, but a little bit of, okay, we've addressed our team. We've got our first quarterback, and we've drafted a quarterback, and we already have our backup quarterback. And most teams going into this process already had their first string and second team quarterback, except for the teams we've kind of just talked about. The Tennessee Titans, the Browns, the Giants, right? And the Saints. Everybody else is kind of set. So now it becomes, this is where it starts to hurt. So now he gets passed up. The Giants take him. The Saints take Shuck, right? The Browns decide not to. They decide to address things on their team because they go, wait, we got players we got to and positions we got to address here, not more than the quarterback. So they're not thinking quarterback, but the rest of the league isn't going to just sit there and go, well, we had a high grade on him, so let's just take him in the 2nd round now or 3rd round. No, because what happens, and especially with a guy like Shedeur Sanders, is you are popular. There is a lot that comes with you, media attention, scrutiny, whatever, your dad, all of that. That's all that's going to be talked about. So teams are starting to go, wait, I don't want to take a 3rd round, 4th round quarterback that's going to be our 3rd quarterback, and he's going to overtake our team just like he's overtaking Cleveland right now as every show, and we're talking about him, and I talked about him earlier with Pro Football Talk, and I guarantee Stephen A. and ESPN's talking about it right now. No team wants to deal with that.
It's not worth it.
Not worth it. It becomes a little bit of like, hey, he's good, we like him, but for our team, he's going to be a 3rd here at first, and we're going to end up having everybody in the locker room's going to have to answer questions like he's the best player on our team, like he's the number 1 pick in the draft, and we don't want that distraction. And that becomes also now on top of, yes, you fall. Now it's like, wait, but you're so good and so popular, we don't want to take you because we don't want everything that comes along with it as far as the distractions and the media hype and all that. So that plays against Shedeur Sanders and the whole situation as well.
But if the talent was what it could have, what some people thought it was,
Okay.
he would have gone earlier.
Okay.
Is that? Would you agree with that? Because you did have him rated as the number 2 quarterback.
That's
you
right.
thought he was better than Jackson Dart.
I still do. I got no problem with that. Yeah. I mean, I'm not going to back down from that, right? Okay, so yes, if the talent was elite, which none of these guys' talent was elite except for one guy, Cam Ward, period. I mean, I've been very fair, I think, in saying that about all these guys all along. And yes, I like Shedeur's arm better than Jackson Dart and Tyler Shuck. And yes, I think he plays tougher in the pocket and does all that stuff well too. Now, yeah, there's some things on the field that I knew I could tell you I could have been able to tell you some quarterback coaches in football. They're going to go, they're not going to like Shedeur because it's just not, he doesn't run the offense like Jackson Dart and Tyler Shuck do. And there's a lot of reasons we can get into that. But either way, they see that stuff enough on film that I know some of the, let me just say, back to the pure core offensive coordinators who don't value maybe plays outside the pocket or plays off the schedule. They were going to love the Jackson Dart Tyler Shuck because you see them go through reads, play in the pocket, play in a pro offense, make consistently NFL-type throws over and over, where you don't see that as much with Shedeur, let alone the big talent is in there, right? And you're not saying, wow. And then the last aspect is this. Shedeur handled this whole situation really well. I feel for him. That was a tough spot. As a dad and somebody that's been through that a little bit, I do feel for him. And I think the things he said after night 1 in the draft and how he's handled himself day 2 in the draft and then day 3, I give him a lot of credit, right? He didn't pout. He put a good face on. He said the right things. There's one thing I got to issue with. He's got to take a little bit of accountability for the situation. That for sure. You can't go to meetings and meet with teams and just go, oh, you gave me something to study, and I just said, screw you, basically. I didn't study it. Deal with it. Like, you're a quarterback of an NFL franchise. They're giving you the keys to the franchise to be the guy. They've asked a small little test task, right? Test task of take this home, digest it, so we can have a meeting the next morning, study, get on the whiteboard, do all that.
He did this for the team meeting. Is this how the team meetings go usually?
Totally disregarded that process from everything you hear and basically just said, no, I didn't do it. Right? Yeah, that's gonna hurt you. So now we're talking about a guy that's, yes, not the elite talent that maybe the public thought. Wait, he's already a guy that, man, there's a lot of attention and a lot of whatever you want to say, entitlement, as some people might say. I'm not saying that, but that's the words you hear thrown around that, right? I'm better than I am, puff out my chest. And then you disrespect the process in which Peyton Manning did it, Mahomes did it. It's the only thing you can control in the process is how well you're prepared to meet with these guys and put your best foot forward and be smart and be on your game and be as charismatic and do that. And then basically just to slap them in the face and go, nah, I didn't do it. So what? What are you going to do about it? Well, what are they going to do about it? They're not going to pick you. And now you're sitting there for 3 days waiting.
Yeah.
That would be my only issue with the whole process is just a little accountability on his end. He didn't have an agent. I don't think that was a good thing. The agent would have been able to fight behind the scenes for him a little bit more. His dad is awesome in so many ways, but he's not an agent. Last time I checked, he's got to coach a football team in Colorado, and he doesn't know how to necessarily play that type of game. So he had some things working against him, and I feel like the public was just a little too late in figuring out. The league was kind of trying to let everybody know for the last month, hey, it's not quite what do you think? And you saw little reports and reports here and there and blah, blah, blah. And it just all came to a head here this last weekend.
He didn't respect the process. And when you're looking for
definitely
fringes and advantages and what does this guy have that this guy doesn't have, and to connect the dots on something you said earlier, too, about the floors being raised on all these prospects. There's a lot of great players out there.
Right.
You said that we were talking about before the show, a lot of teams are telling you, we love the guy that we got, and we're looking at the guy and the football player and how much love do you have for this game and what are the edges, just because the talent is becoming equalized and there's so much good talent out there. What does separate
exactly
the best from the whatever the rest?
Right.
And it's like, oh, he's got a little bit of an edge to him. He's got a desire to learn. He showed me something.
I think we're seeing that more emphasized in the NFL and a draft year more than I can ever remember, where love of football. Right, love of football and character, and I do think it has a little bit to do with the draft was so talented. right? Maybe not at the top, but the rest of it, till they were like, wait, player 4 on our board, he's got this flaw, and we don't know he loves football. Player 6 isn't really that far behind in our grade. It's minimal. And he loves the game, and he'll do anything he wants. Let's take player 6. The hell with player 4, right?
Yeah.
And I think you're seeing that a little bit. And yeah, and especially with that position of all quarterbacks are usually type A, psycho, OCD. Let me write my notes, 100 pages. I write script. That's how I do. Like that's what they do. I eat this for you, and then I eat that, and then I throw footballs, and then I work out, and then I eat, and then I watch film, and that's what I do tomorrow. I'm going to do that tomorrow, and then the day after, and then the day after, and then it'll be the weekend, and then I'm going to take a day off and then do it again.
And it seems like from what you're saying right there is
Right.
exactly what Cam Ward said to a lot of the teams that talked to him. And so it's a lot of these same teams. And that is what Cam Ward does. There was a video that was floating out there. I think Shedeur was like, hey, you want to go make a song? He's like, I just want to
don't
play
make
football.
songs.
I don't make songs. I just play football.
No.
That's all. So
yeah.
you saw the contrast in that one video that teams probably saw when they had the meetings with both
Right,
those
when he's
guys.
getting on Shedeur, he's going, we did one drill. You want to go get a Gatorade? Like, well, let's keep going. Let's keep working. But, yes, that's exactly what people love about Cam Ward. Gym rat, never been handed anything. He's had to take and work and earn everything he's got, right? Loves the game. When he's out in the field, he works. He's serious. He's a leader. And that's what teams want. That's what a good coach, your life depends on it. So you want a guy that you feel like, hey, their life depends on it too. It's important to them like that. And I don't think that's where Shedeur Sanders came off well in the whole process, and that's what hurt him, certainly. And then there's the aspect of the Cleveland Browns taking him. Now, the Cleveland Browns have a phenomenal draft. But here again is the reasons why team didn't want to take him late in the draft, because all that phenomenal draft, we're not talking about anybody else except for him. And I don't know, again, the Browns are rooted in analytics more than any other football team. So I don't blame Andrew Berry or Stefanski here. I don't know who makes this call. I mean, Andrew Berry told me a few years ago to my face, he goes, I said, is it fair to say analytics run your team more than others? And he said, yeah, that's fair to say. We rely on it more than most teams. So I don't know if they made, and by their reaction and the way it looked, yeah, it looks like Paul DePodesta, chief strategy officer, or the owner kind of said, let's do it. Or the analytics said, wait, we have this grade no matter what, we're taking him, right? But there's the human factor, and that's where they missed, to me, because here again, that's all we're talking about. That's all anybody on Cleveland's team's going to talk about for the next week. It's all anybody in Cleveland's going to talk about, period, is the quarterbacks. Hey, Dylan Gabriel did good. Hey, he didn't do good today. Should Shedeur play over him? Hey, Kenny Pickett was good. Shedeur should be behind him? Oh, no, Kenny Pickett was bad. Let's put Flacco in. Flacco wasn't good. Let's go back to Shedeur. Yeah. Hey, what about Dylan Gabriel? We drafted him before. Oh, crap, right? So they've opened up a can of worms here, too. And they also have Deshaun Watson. I just don't know if this was right for where they are as a team right now. And I'll say this too. I thought they would be a team that would make, or Shedeur, I thought was really going to get picked by a team like the Ravens or the Chiefs, right? One that said, our coaches are comfortable with their job status.
Once he fell far enough.
Right, once he fell far enough. And I kept thinking, man, go with Baltimore, be behind Lamar, learn how to be a pro and how you attack the game every day. I thought that would be a perfect scenario, right? And we're not going to be like, oh, should Shedeur start over Lamar, right? So they wouldn't be worried about that. There'll be no talk there. I thought it would be one of those type of teams. When Cleveland took him, I chuckled out loud, and I went, of course Cleveland took him. I think that's exactly what I said. Of course they did. And, now they got to deal with this drama, and I don't know if that's necessarily good for their team either.
Yeah, Dylan Gabriel had a few hours.
He had like 18 hours of like, yes, I got picked. They love me.
Yeah.
Now it's like, wait, they picked you? Are you sure? They picked Shedeur Sanders. Are you sure you're still there?
It's the one pick they regret now. So one thing I do know, we will learn more about this in the inner workings because a lot of people want to talk about it.
Yeah,
so
right.
It'll be fun to hear and see how it develops now. If nothing else, it is a great story moving forward to see how he does there in Cleveland.
Yo, homies, what's up? Thanks for watching Chris Simms Unbuttoned. And just because the weather's warm, doesn't mean football ain't still on our brains right here.
We are still working, so smash that subscribe button. We got all the training camp news, preseason news, everything up until kickoff night.
Thanks for watching. And again, remember to hit that subscribe button. Peace out, homies.